Lebetkin, the Rabbi from another planet. Please like, share, and subscribe, and ring that little bell. Ring the little bell so you're notified when new videos drop, and we have made it. Thankfully, we have made it to the end of the Orville. So far, no announcement for Orville Season 4. Please, the good people at Hulu, David Zaslav it, okay? It's over, and I'm really sorry it didn't work out. Seth, I think you're a good person. I think you have a good heart and good intentions. I think you're living in an insane bubble with crazy people being controlled by evil people, which I think this season was somewhat of an expression of. So I've been quite harsh on this season. People are like, I think you might be reading into it. Really? I really don't think I am. I recently watched the Star Trek episode, specifically because of this. Let This Be Your Last Battlefield, where Frank Gorshin is black on one side of the face and white on the other, and chases somebody with black on the other side and white on the other. The whole point of it is a commentary on race relations and how stupid racism is, how stupid viewing people differently because their skin color is different. And it's very, very obvious. I think it's equally very obviously here. They're very much on board for what they call gender-affirming care, or what they also call letting children castrate themselves, chemically castrate themselves, or irreversibly, or giving young girls double mastectomies, right? It's awful. It's absolutely awful. I think this is like beyond the pale. People go, but Toba was born as a, which is obviously what I'm talking about. Toba was born as a girl and then forcibly changed to a boy. Yes, I know that. Think how symbolism works, right? Toba, that Toba episode about a girl was made in 2017, and the idea of being trans at that time was not what it is now. If we look at like the world now for a lens of 2017, people go, "This is ridiculous," right? If you look at, I can't remember, Dr. Rachel Levine, who is clearly a woman. Might have a penis, right? Clearly a woman with a penis, but quite clearly with a penis, right? People just go, this is ridiculous. It's like a Monty Python sketch, which it was like, right? So I think to get you to empathize the idea of living in a body where you don't feel your gender is physically matches what your physical gender is. That's what that episode was doing, right? I think in Seth MacFarlane's mind, there's no difference from somebody being born a girl and being forced to be a boy because of religious societal pressure, then there is somebody being born a boy and believing they're a girl, or vice versa, because of societal pressure. I think he sees the same thing. So that argument saying, "Oh no, it doesn't hold up," and I think it's even more underscored with the episode when the Mucklins are shown to be just pure evil, and how's it shown? The ongoing vibe we got from Seth MacFarlane and from Gordon, right? I can't remember the name of the actor, but the character in it. There's a scene in it where he shouts at the Mucklins saying, "We gotta pretend that your beliefs matter, but they don't." That is California screaming at Alabama, right? That is people who have no belief in the sanctity of life, which they don't. You only will believe in the sanctity of life if you believe in there's a soul, or there's in that kind of. If you're okay in some way, you don't have to be religious, but you don't even have to be. You can be agnostic, but if you're okay with the idea of there being, some kind of metaphysical existence, being a soul, being whatever it is, that's the only way that life can have sanctity, right? And I said, look, again, I want to say, I think Seth MacFarlane genuinely wants to be a good person, and does his best, but he's living in an environment of pure evil, right? The way I look at it, right? Again, I think this push to normal, to tell children it's normal and healthy to transition permanently, with permanent medical, I think is evil, right? I think it's genuinely evil, because I think we're going to see masses of suicides in the next 10 years. It's horrible. It's really, 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 really horrible. And to see Seth waving the flag for it's killed the show for me. It's killed the show for me on many, many levels. I don't like the character of Amanda Grayson anymore. She's just a shrill bully, forcing her opinions and views on anybody, and like again, every time she beats up a Machlin, who was evil. It's all wish fulfillment for people living in blue states who are like very. And I don't want to get political in this at all, right? That's why the Orville was freaking awesome. It was just good storytelling, including about a girl, right? 2017, introducing the idea of transgenderism in an intelligent, emotive way. That was brilliant. Why? Because he didn't sit in judgment on anybody who weren't going to the same conclusion. Not that much in judgment on it. Now they do. And I also feel the Krill story arc was very much based on Donald Trump. I think the person who took over was a very clear allegory to Trump rallies. Somebody I know says, no, these were the fascist rallies in Germany in the 1930s. Yes, that's what they think the Trump rallies are, because they're insane, right? And so all this season just had a core of hatred, right? A dislike for the unlike, right? Which I think that core of hatred comes out of people who are very much in the on the Biden side of our cultural divide. Absolutely, genuinely hate those on the other side, and they which again is represented over and over and over again in this season of the Orville. So then we got to episode 9. And they told a good story, but they did it too quickly. It was an hour and 20 minutes, and every episode's been way too flabby at that length. Just, going on for too long. That one was too short. That should have been 2.5 hours. Or, if they weren't so concerned with all the Topa nonsense, they could have seeded that storyline throughout the season or broke it into two episodes. So you've got to have this giant, big... action adventure effects heavy semi-finale, and now we get to the finale, which I liked. I think it was a good damn episode, and it really annoys me, right? It really bloody annoys me that they just pissed it away. But I'm a big softie, right? I like people marrying and being happy. I like seeing people being happy, and I think this was a return to classic Orville. This episode, it was fun. It was fun. It was funny, right? It was heartfelt. It was emotional. Everything. If they hadn't spent the last, the other, well, a good portion of the rest of the season being so insanely hateful, it would have worked. But if you lay down with dogs, you get fleas, which I think is what the message that Seth MacFarlane really. I wish that somebody would give it. Also, mate. Also, the idea of bringing in your girlfriend who's 20 years younger than you, then getting rid of her, then bringing in you girlfriend who's 20 years younger, then getting rid of her. They bring in a new replacement for that character this episode. Does that mean that whoever was playing Ensign Burke is now out of Seth MacFarlane's life and this new one's in? Who knows? Probably. But hopefully there will not be a full season. This episode is called Future Unknown. I hope it is. I hope the future remains unknown, because the Orville has pooed the bed, right? It really, tragically, I'm very, very sad about it. I wish it hadn't. But for me, it's tainted the entire run. I'm probably not going to go back and watch any of it ever again. Whereas, strangely, I still like Star Trek Strange New Worlds. So, swings and roundabouts. What can you do? Fine. Before we get into the review, which I've gone on for quite a long time, like, share, subscribe, and comment. All those things are very, very good things to do, especially comment. I do like to hear your thoughts. If you disagree with me, come on the show. I'd like to have a conversation with you, right? Like, share, subscribe, comment. Sign up to my Substack, my email newsletter, so you can be updated where to find me. Sign up to my paid Substack, so you can throw me money. There's really no other reason, right? I was just going to pitch it to you. Nah, I'll send you stuff, but that's the best I can do. Sign up my Substack, sign up my paid Substack. All those things are fantastic. Now let's hand over to this very, very ambiguous episode, The Orville, which was very good. Give us a very good episode after being insanely hateful for weeks and weeks and weeks on end. Let me hand over to me from last night. This episode was a genuinely good episode, right? In reflection, I think this was a genuinely good episode. But coming off this season, oh, man, it was really disappointing. But this is a great bookend for the first episode in the season, where you get to see a really good arc for Isaac. If only they hadn't pissed away so much time lecturing people about why 12-year-olds should be allowed to castrate themselves, right? And it's cruel not to allow a 12-year-old to castrate themselves or give themselves a double mastectomy, which is what gender affirming care is, which is what the whole thing is about. Gender affirming care is about allowing minors to castrate themselves. Man, it's scary. In Florida, I think they're going to start prosecuting the doctors doing that, which is great. I saw this thing today. DeSantis fired a state prosecutor who was refusing to prosecute anyone. He was like bragging how he let like thousands of people go because they didn't have ID. Oh, that's crazy. Anyway, lots of politics in the Orville, and it really tone deaf. It hasn't worked out well. Really hurt the series. However, this episode is a pretty darn good one. It's a sweet one. It's a and that's the thing that upsets me, because Seth MacFarlane knows how to write. He knows how to put together a good show. And you had that big, huge season finale, big budget one last week, and you get a nice emotional show this week. An hour and 20-minute long, so flabby, so insanely flabby, right? I just wish it wasn't so insanely flabby, right? It's a bit of a shame. Anyway, so the Orville's flying through space. We get this weird 1960s number about a bachelor as Isaac walks about the ship, being Isaac, doing his Isaac-y stuff. And again, no dialogue no dialogue in this. Again, musical interlude. Seth, I know you like music. I know you like big band stuff, okay? But all the time, and this just goes on. So he goes and replicates a banana, takes it to Claire. It seems a bit suggestive to me, but that's because I'm insanely immature, right? So then goes to the bridge, and Baltus is talking about having what's the word we're talking about? A kind of renewal of his vows, right? With Clyden, right? So, and it's like it's like a Gelogia-like ceremony. And he said, "Yes, no, people should come. It's a good thing." And we, essentially we go down to the planet and we strip naked. And then we chase each other. And once I catch Clyden, then we do the mating act together to renew our vows. And I'm like, well, okay then. And he's like, we want people to witness the purity of the chase and our love, right? That's why we want you here. So I said, look, well, if you want to renew your vows, why doesn't Clyden just let you catch him, right? That would seem to be the way to go. So he said, no. If the chase isn't genuine, then it's not kosher, essentially. So they go down the planet, and because they are outcasts in Mocklin, Seth MacFarlane performs the ceremony and says Mocklin stuff, Chuck Joy, all that sort of stuff, and they strip off, right? I tell you, I mean, would you, given the choice? Here's a question for you. What would Gene Roddenberry say if you brought him back to life and said, look, this is what happened on the legacy of Star Trek. They're going to have two gay men chase each other and publicly catch each other and have sex with each other, right? This is a legacy. He would. I look. You had what's his name? His son saying, "Oh, he'll be so proud of Discovery." No, he wouldn't. It's a piece of shit, right? It's a piece of shit on every level. It's absolutely awful. And this is like normative behavior in for the last 40 years. But in the 60s, bloody hell, could you imagine? His head would explode. You're like, what? What happened to the world? Wait a minute. This is weird. But again, this is 2020. Again, the whole idea of public decency is a bit of a lost idea in the world, isn't it? Right? It really is. I took my camera back on. Anyway, so yeah, it's a weird. It's funny though. I have to say, I liked it. It was funny. This seemed like classic Orville to me. It really did. And then Clyden throws a rock at him, and they keep chasing. Again, this is making me laugh, right? I think that, but this feels much more in spoof territory. So, and really, I mean, I'm glad they're wearing a thong, but really, so eventually he catches him, and yes, and he performs a sexual act. Then they come back and they're all sweaty, and they say, "We have renewed our vows in front. Thank you for joining us." And they do this like weird head kiss thing, and everybody's like, right? And it just goes on, right? It goes on, and nobody really knows what to do, and it keeps going on. And then eventually Gordon's like, "We should just clap," and they're like, "Yeah, I guess so. We should just clap." Isaac looks on this, and he's like, "This is interesting, right? This is interesting." Meanwhile, back in the hall, special effects fantastic, right? So here's another failing of this season. I had no idea what they're talking about. I've seen every episode more than once. They're referring back to the episode now when they went to the planet, the social media, right? When Lamar was getting downvoted and it was going to be executed because it was downvoted. Which I just think a bit odd, I just didn't understand. How am I supposed to remember all this stuff? Like, so they go to the planet and saying, to check in on them. And I've forgotten all the details, but apparently there was like they were too early for first contact, but somebody caught them, and they're still on the planet. I had no idea, right? So off the Orville goes. Meanwhile, Isaac goes and does some research. He wants to look up marriage and mating technique and rituals throughout the universe. Then he reduces it to humans. Claire is having a chat with whatever the new person is who replaced Seth MacFarlane's girlfriend. And Isaac walks in and says, "I have an important question to ask you." And he gets down on one knee, right? And he proposes. And Claire's like, "Holy shit, really?" And we get the titles. And like everything in the third season all goes on too bloody long, right? Just goes on and on and on, too bloody long, right? So Future Unknown, written by Seth MacFarlane. Claire's like, why would you do that so publicly? I didn't thought this is crazy. And he's like, "I will stay with you as a commitment forever." But what seems to turn around, because like she's no interest in being married, is he says, "Look, I will look after you. I will look after your children, your offspring, and their offspring for eons to come." Like, because she says, "Look, I'm gonna die one day, and what's gonna happen then?" He said, "Well, I may find another partner, but I will always look after your children and their offspring." I think it'll be fascinating to watch them over the eons, the sociology of your family and how it progresses. So this is something that appeals to Claire, right? So now she's like, "Well, I got to think about this." She talks to the worst person in the universe about to make a decision, like literally the worst person you could possibly talk to. What's the name? Adrian Plackney Grayson, like who had nothing but failed relationships, both in her private, in her real life, and as a character. Right? They're like, well, yeah. Look, she knows from that time in the holodeck that when he expresses love, he actually loves her, right? And he knows he's going to be loyal, and he knows he's going to be a good husband. So, like, well, what's the downside, right? So they keep going over everything and think, look, there is really no downside whatsoever, right? Other than he doesn't have genuine emotions. In what Seth MacFarlane, they want to get his take. He's like, bloody no, leave me alone, right? I'm like the worst person to ask. No, she's the worst person to ask, okay? The absolute worst person to ask. Meanwhile, again, classic Orville. Gordon now says, wouldn't it be great if they would let us play music here? He said, well, they're worried that when people start dancing, we get a red alert. And he's like, well, that's even better. We all up and ready to go. So then, and again, I don't remember any of this stuff. Even though I've seen it, it's they get a message not from. Apparently, there's a Union observation plate on that planet they went to, the planet, the social media. So, but they get a communication, and it's not from a Union person, but it's from the person they met there, and she had stolen a communicator. And she's like, "Please let me talk to you." She said, "Look, I need to talk to you. We're trying to get in touch with you for months." And he said, "Well, actually, we're coming to you now, right?" And it's very, very urgent. And so she's already been on the ship. But again, I only know this because I watched the episode. I was like trying to feel it out. And what's really going on is this. She's replacing Seth MacFarlane's new girlfriend. So is she also replacing her in real life? I mean, does he get a new girlfriend for each episode, for each season? I mean, that's basically what Housewives of the Orville, says Darren M. Exactly, right? So she's like, look, I can't take it on my planet anymore. The social media thing has got it, and social media thing has got out of control. Cancel culture. It's and finally we're on common ground, something that we all agree with. Social media and cancel culture are mobbed. But I'm sorry, Seth, the politics that you have expressed have been exemplified. Well, I guess Donald Trump wasn't an angel on social media, but like the whole dogpiling people, that seems to be in my experience, it's been a left-wing thing. Maybe it's right-wing too. I don't know. I really, really don't know. But at least it's like an ideal that we can all agree with. So she's like, please, can I just come with you? It's like, well, I'm not sure you can. And cut to the chase. Yes, you can, because Grayson will look after her. Meanwhile, every time I see Yaphet, I'm sad because of Norm Macdonald's legacy being tarnished. And they're talking about it. In walks Isaac, and Lamar's like, listen, mate, you want to think twice. You've only ever been with one person. You know, you maybe want to like date other people before you tie yourself down. I know lots of people who marriages that went bad that way. I don't know. I don't really agree with that sentence. Meanwhile, Ensign No Name says, no, true love is great. You should do it. He's like, I don't know. So meanwhile, Claire goes to talk to her kids. And again, this is a good counterbalance to how the season started, where it was so kids had a real problem with Isaac, right? And I like that they resolved it. Basically, I'm a big softie, right? So I like romance stuff. I am, and they're like, go for it, Mum. Yeah. So she basically says, decides to say yes, and Isaac is like, I am gratified by this turn of events. So next thing, this is a clip that was going around. Isaac turns up and says, good morning, Commander Grayson. Would you care to have go out on a date and have intercourse? It's like, what? That's a bit weird. He said, well, I've been told by Lamar, you know, I should date other people before getting married. So he thinks it's part of the routine, right? Off he walks. She's like, okay, I've got to talk. First, he wants to call the other Salean, the new Salean woman, and she's like, no, don't do that. That's a bad idea. That is a bad idea. So he said, okay, I got to talk to the doctor, but she's busy. I'll go to her later. Meanwhile, she's acclimating to the new life here, and she's trying to work out why people work if you don't need to get paid, right? That's a good question, really. Look, and they say, well, we do. This is all about, nowadays our currency is with doing meritorious acts, like doing things that help. So you could do anything. You could be a chef. You could be an explorer. You could be a waiter. Anything that helps all. You get social currency for it, right? That's how you become wealthy. I just don't like Agent Blackie or a character anymore, right? And she's trying to get her head around. I said, "Wow, I could just do anything." This sounds like a complete utopia. Great makeup effects. This is a great combination of makeup and special effects. This really works. Show me your tongues. All three of your tongues hurt. So she goes and said, "Oh look, I need to talk to you as well." They go into her office, and she thinks that she's about to talk to her about Isaac wanting to have sex with her. And she's like, no, I want you to be my maid of honor. And she's like, yay, yes, queen, yay, I'll be your maid of honor. Just one thing I've got to tell you. Isaac wanted to have sex with me. And so Claire's like, what the hell? No, we're together. That doesn't happen. You're not allowed, is it? But Commander Lamar said it was an important part of the mating process. So she walks into engineering, pissed as anything, right? And reams out Lamar, right? Like, what the hell? He's very impressionable. You should think twice, right? Meanwhile, she takes the new character to the holodeck and says, look, this is some of the planets you can visit, and you can go exploring, you can do all these things, and get great effects, look nice. And she's just blown away, right? He's absolutely blown away. Let me make the next, open up the next set of slides. There we go. Where am I going over there? Orville 310B. That's the folder we want. There we go. Doink. Open 199 items. Yes, I want you to open 199 items. That is good. Next time I get a computer, which God knows when that's going to be. I might try and get my son to bring me back one from the States. I am getting a solid-state hard drive. This laptop has a solid-state hard drive. Makes all the freaking difference in the world. Oh, my God. So anyway, there we go. Share screen. Here it comes. Yeah. So anyway, Orville's flying around. Isaac asks Lamar to be the best man because he said you've got to give a humorative toast, like a toast, and I think everybody thinks you're funny. He's like, yes, love it. But the Borters is like, no, I am funny. Everybody says I am funny. I am good as I will be the best man. And Borters like, what? No, he just asked me. He said, no, it is me. I will do it. I'm like, okay. Meanwhile, Isaac goes and talks to Kalon Primary, and he invites him to the wedding, along with all the Kalons. We will leave a minimal force around the planet, and we will all come to your nuptials and to celebrate them. So now, new character is feeling guilty that she's in paradise, and she's left the rest of the world behind, right? The West world, the rest of her home planet behind. So she's like feeling guilty about it as they look at the drive, and she's like, I feel weird about this. So meanwhile, Gordon's bitching to Seth MacFarlane that Borters took his best man position. He's like, it's gonna suck. Yes, it's gonna be absolutely awful. Then from it was the first episode of the season, the sandwich he sent in the future. Was it the first episode? No, it was the episode where he had a life and it was taken away from him. Reappears as, wow, I said I would like this sandwich, and it turns up it's fantastic. And the sandwich makes them happy. So meanwhile, they're planning her hen night, and she's unraveling more and more. She's like, I can just get a glass of water and I don't have to work for anything. And she's like, this is a bit weird, right? This is a bit weird. And she just annoys me. So meanwhile, they're at the stag night, and it sucks because Borters put it together, and it's like a Vegas club, but there's no atmosphere there whatsoever. Borters comes out to do the entertaining, and he's going to be Elvis, right? All this, and again, classic Orville. We're back in classic Orville again. What happened? What happened to the middle 8 episodes? I don't know. Clyde is like, yes, you're the best ever. And he's like, quiet, Clyden. Meanwhile, the girls' party is rocking. They're having a great time because girls are better than boys, obviously. And then the entertainment comes out. It's Isaac Stripper, right? And woo, yay! And that was funny. Has tassels come out of his nipples. I thought that was a very good idea. And they're worried about the new girl, but they're having a great time. And Claire's dancing with Stripper Isaac. And meanwhile, at the boys' one, they're like, everybody wants to die. And then so finally, Borters finishes singing and said, no, entertainment's over. You must leave. So off they go. So in comes new characters. Look, sorry to ask this, but I got to go back. Like first she's asking, can we just take the technology back to my planet? Because this would solve everything, right? Unlimited resources would solve everything. Adisa's getting a new laptop, solid state hard drive, baby. That's the way to go. I recommend it highly. And she's like, look, I'm just feeling like I'm too much guilt. I got to go back. So it's like, okay, then. Meanwhile, Claire's picking out a dress and she tries different ones. That one looks better. And it's a good scene, right? This is a good scene. She says to Seth MacFarlane, which one do you prefer? Says, you look great in both. You look fantastic in both. And they're like, that's not useful. That's really, really bad, right? So, so she's pissed off at Seth MacFarlane. Then in walks Grayson, and she's like, "Oh, that looks beautiful." And it's like, "Thank you, Seth MacFarlane. That's exactly what I just said, word for bloody word. I don't understand, but you said it wrong." Okay, fine, no problem. So she says that what's name wants to go back. And he's like, "Well, I don't know. Should we? Shouldn't we?" I guess so. I guess we'll send her back. So they go to send her back, and she gets on the shuttle, and an alarm goes. Oh, she hugs her, and then an alarm goes off. And she said, what's in the bag? And they find the data pad. It's got how to make replicators and a bunch of stuff, which is completely, verboten. So they take her away and says, look, you need to come with me. So they take her to the holodeck and say, this is from, I can't remember which planet. At the beginning, the Union were more missionaries than explorers, and we hadn't had these rules set up. So this is planet Bollock one, I have no idea what it's called, and they met, and the Union came here, and they gave all the technology, and this was like 5 years later, right? 5 years later, it went to this, and the world's destroyed, billions of people dead, and just feral monsters running around. And then look, essentially, if you give this technology to planets that aren't ready, like us today, then rich people are just going to use them to subjugate poor people, rather than everybody work together and create a brand new future. So this is why we have like the first contact rules. And also, Star Trek set them up with Gene Roddenberry, and it was much better, right? So she finally gets it. Meanwhile, Balder says, a fleet of ships are coming. And like, what's going on? And all the Kalon arrive, right? All the Kalon arrive. Like, what the hell? And then we are here for the wedding. I said, but Isaac, they can't all fit in the holodeck. I said, okay, there's only room for 50 in the holodeck. I will have to broadcast the wedding to the rest of the ships. This is acceptable. So then we get the wedding. Again, it's funny. It's sweet. I like all of this. It's just, oh, man. It actually makes the rest of the season hurt. This season hurt even more, right? That they really do a nice episode like this. It kind of reminds me of, there's a bit in Swamp Thing in the American Gothic written by Alan Moore, where Etergun, this demon in hell, agrees to help the good guys in exchange for a flower. And they say, well, why the flower? So if I plant this flower in hell, it's going to make everything look even worse compared to the flower, which is kind of the same here, right? It makes everything look worse. That they put together a great episode. The Kalons are very funny. So the kids come out with the rings. They have music playing. She's decided to stay now, or they're not taking her back. I can't remember. And the wedding goes off, and the Kalons are intrigued. Seth MacFarlane performs a wedding, and they do their own vows. Claire gives a very heartfelt one, and Isaac does one in his own way. Says, one time I made a mistake, and I think you will help me be more efficient. I want to be more efficient. And they smile, right? That's basically what goes down. They take the rings, and they get married, and they kiss. And I'm a sucker for this. I'm a genuine sucker for this sort of stuff. There you go. That I like people being happy, right? I do. I like people being happy and fulfilled. It makes me happy. Kalon get up and clap, and last time I seen Norm Macdonald, breaks my heart, mate. Breaks my heart. By the way, did you know that wasn't James Earl Jones doing Darth Vader's voice in Obi-Wan Kenobi? That was a recreation using software. So they could do the same, but please don't. But they're not. So far, they haven't been renewed. Please don't renew the Orville, right? Don't put me through this again. So she's like, yeah, I'm okay with staying now. I'm the new character. If we get renewed, please don't be renewed. And then said, "Oh, I got a special surprise." And in walks his ex-girlfriend, and "Hi, I'm making a cameo." Said, "Oh, you broke up?" Yeah. But he brought me back for one episode. Bortles tries to make the best man speech, and it doesn't go well. He's like, "I have studied. This is a combination of insults with heartfelt wishes afterwards." And so they do like the weirdest insults. He's like, that's the Gordon has that reaction. Like, Claire, I think you're coupling Claire, you're coupling with Clyden is doomed to failure. There's so many things wrong with it. But all kidding aside, I wish you the best. And Isaac, you betrayed us and you killed thousands of people and hundreds of ships. But all kidding aside, I wish you the best. So eventually, Isaac says, "Thank you very much for your speech, Bortles. Gordon, would you like to do the best man speech as well?" Right? So he does a much nicer speech, but like gets it right, as you would expect. And it's a good speech, so then again we have Gordon sitting around playing the guitar again, right? How many episodes has been? You're not that fucking good at it, Gordon, mate. Can't remember what your name is. You're not that good at it, okay? I can see your stand up fine. This is not if this is your thing, stop it. You find another thing. This is just drags. It's annoying. Stop. Just stop. Right? God, so self-indulgent. Right? This season has been like, you remember the David Tennant's regeneration sequence, which was insanely self-indulgent as he goes and gets his reward. Right? That's what this whole season's been like. A season of self-indulgent, the flabby episodes. Does the whole thing, and I'm like, stop. Just stop. Make it end. And then Grayson and Seth MacFarlane, they hold hands, and there's a spark that they might get back together again. Really? Oh, just stop. Just stop. And the Orville flies off into the sunset, hopefully forever. Goodbye, Orville. Oh, and even though it wasn't a bad episode, I just hope we never, ever see it again. My name's Tzvi Lebetkin, the Rabbi from another planet. Please like, share, and subscribe, and ring the little bell. Ring the little bell so you're notified when new videos drop.